I thought I could slip away from my mistakes quietly, sparing my husband any more pain than I'd already caused. But fate doesn't bargain. It has its own merciless timing. He caught me. It was supposed to be the final meeting, the end of everything I'd foolishly started. But there he was, standing at the edge of it all, watching as I tried to close the door I never should have opened. The look in his eyes didn't ignite anger in me. It shattered something deeper. I thought that moment was the lowest I could fall. But I was wrong. Because that was only the beginning. That morning, I'd stripped myself of every artifice. No makeup, no perfume, just a plain gray sweater and jeans. I wanted to signal that this wasn't a secret rendezvous for thrills anymore. This wasn't seduction. This was closure. I sat across from Julian, the man I had betrayed my husband with, in the dim back corner of a quiet little cafe tucked between old brick shops. It was the very place where this reckless flame had first been sparked months ago. "It's over," I said, my voice steady though my chest tightened painfully. "I can't do this anymore." Julian leaned back, a bitter smirk playing on his lips as he stirred his coffee lazily. "If you're really so sure, Marissa," he said, his tone cutting, "why did you ever cross that line in the first place?" The words stung like salt in an open wound. Loneliness. Restlessness. A foolish longing for something that felt new and exciting. I had no defense worth speaking aloud. I didn't notice the black sedan pulling up across the street. Didn't see the man in a dark coat step out, standing there with his hands buried in his pockets, staring through the cafe's window with cold, patient eyes. I was too busy ending what I should have never begun. Julian didn't protest. He stood, dropped a few bills on the table, and leaned in close enough for his words to slice. "Tell your husband I'm sorry he didn't see your worth before I did," he said, a cruel jab disguised as pity. Then he walked out, leaving me behind with trembling hands. I grabbed my purse preparing to leave, relieved it was finally done, but as I turned toward the door everything inside me froze. He was there. My husband, Daniel, stood in the entrance, silent and still as stone. His face betrayed no emotion but his eyes. God, those eyes, glacial, unreadable. No words, no questions, no confrontation. He simply turned and walked away. I bolted after him, my voice cracking as I called his name. "Daniel, please let me explain. It's not what it." He didn't stop. Didn't even glance back. He climbed into his car, the engine roared to life, and just like that, he vanished. I stood on the sidewalk, my legs shaking, my pulse thundering in my ears. That wasn't some coincidence. Daniel had known. He'd come there to see it for himself. Sleep never touched me that night. His side of the bed stayed untouched. His pillow undented. His closet had gaps now. His phone charger gone. Even his cologne, the one I used to tease him about hoarding, was missing. My calls went straight to voicemail. My texts remained unread. No replies. I sat on the stairs staring at the front door, waiting for the sound of his keys, the familiar rumble of his car. But the house stayed still, cloaked in an unnatural quiet that wasn't absence. It was intention. Daniel wasn't going to scream. He wasn't going to argue. He was dismantling our life. Methodically, silently. By morning it began. A notification flashed on my phone. My access to our shared bank account had been revoked. I tried logging in but the app locked me out. Then came the email. "Your password has been changed for security purposes." Panic surged through me. I called the bank, my voice trembling. But the security questions had been changed. Daniel had done it. He'd been shut out. And somehow I knew. This was only the beginning. Desperate, I drove to his brother's house. Matthew had always been the bridge in our marriage. The calm voice in arguments, the one who helped Daniel pick out my engagement ring. When he opened the door, there was no warmth in his eyes. "Matthew, please," I begged, tears slipping down my face. I was ending it. I swear I was trying to make it right. He just showed up. His expression didn't soften. "Ending it," he repeated, his voice sharp. Do you have any idea what you've put him through? Years of self-doubt. Late nights wondering why he wasn't enough. Counseling sessions he never told you about because he wanted to be the man you needed. He shook his head. He's not angry anymore, Marissa. That's what should terrify you. And then he shut the door, leaving me trembling on his porch. The next afternoon, a thick envelope landed in my mailbox. Divorce papers. Dated 3 weeks ago, before that meeting at the cafe. Before I ever tried to end it with Julian. Daniel had already known. He'd been preparing to leave me long before I'd realized I was losing him. Inside the envelope were detailed records. Every asset locked down, every joint account closed, my name stripped from everything. A formal restraining order was included. I called the lawyer listed, my voice barely holding together. There's been some mistake. He can't just erase me like this. The attorney's tone was calm, unflinching. Mr. Whitaker requests that all communication go through legal counsel. He has transferred all personal and inherited assets into protected accounts. There is nothing to discuss. And that was when I realized Daniel wasn't just leaving. He was erasing me. At work, I began to notice it. Whispers dying as I passed, awkward silences filling every room I entered. Then came the email. Mandatory ethics review meeting. 1 p.m. Inside the conference room sat my manager and HR. A thick folder between them. Inside were emails, photographs, anonymous tips submitted through the company's ethics hotline. You're being placed on immediate leave pending investigation, HR stated, her voice detached. Further action will be determined after review. My private shame had become public. Daniel hadn't uttered a word to me. Home, another box sat on my doorstep. My name written in Daniel's steady handwriting. Inside, my wedding veil, freshly cleaned, flash drive, and a note that simply read, "You wanted closure. Here's mine. Do not contact me." Hands shaking, I plugged in the flash drive. It was everything. Footage from the cafe. Our entire conversation recorded, word for word, from a hidden camera. The video ended with Daniel's cold, unreadable stare through the window. Then text appeared. "You've lost the right to closure." He didn't post it publicly. No viral revenge. No spectacle. Instead, he sent it directly to colleagues, clients, friends, my family. No narration. No accusations. Just the raw footage. Letting my own actions speak. By the end of the week, I was terminated. My work email deleted, my access revoked, my parking pass voided. I had to beg a coworker to drive me home. My family cut ties one by one. My brother's voice dripped with contempt when he finally answered my call. "Marissa, losing your phone is a mistake. This was choice." My parents were colder. My mother, once giddy on my wedding day, ignored my calls. My father sent one message. "You didn't just ruin your marriage. You're dragging us down too. Stop calling." Then, one night I stumbled upon a discreet video online. My face blurred, but unmistakable to those who knew me. A calm, measured voice spoke. Not Daniel's, but narrating his words. No need for noise to be heard. No need for revenge to find peace. Walk away with purpose. Let them fall under the weight of their own choices. Now, I live in a tiny apartment, the walls thin, the air heavy with dampness. I wipe tables at a diner. I eat instant ramen. I don't miss Daniel because I want him back. I miss him because he moved with such terrifying precision, dismantling me without screaming, without slamming doors. He didn't destroy me with fury. He simply let me destroy myself. One morning, as the neighbor's radio played the weather and traffic, I realized I didn't even know what day it was anymore. That night, I played an old podcast I used to love. The guest, Daniel Whitaker, now known as a strategist for crisis recovery. The host chuckled nervously and asked, "How do you handle betrayal?" Daniel's voice was calm, measured. "With patience. With distance. With silence." The host laughed, unsure. "That sounds harsh." "It's effective," Daniel replied simply. He never mentioned my name. But every word carried the weight of my downfall. That evening, I sat on the floor of my kitchen, staring at an old photo from our wedding. Daniel's smile was so pure, so trusting. "You didn't deserve this," I whispered, my voice breaking as I crumpled to the floor, mug in hand, sobbing, not for what I'd lost but for what I'd destroyed. Months later, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name in Daniel's handwriting. Inside was a single page. A quote at the top. "Some storms don't come to destroy. They clear the path." Beneath it, his handwriting. "I've walked my path. Now walk yours." No signature. No malice. Just finality. I don't search for him anymore. I don't scroll through social media asking about him. I don't hope for some accidental run-in. His revenge wasn't loud. It was quiet. And in that silence, I finally heard the truth I had ignored for years. I wasn't spared pain. I was given clarity.